All right, we're going to look at the accessory organs. So like we said, these are the ones that they don't make the sex cell, but they help do something. So accessory organs in the male is the epididymis. Sperm is stored, it matures there. Ductus deferentia, vas deferens, often called. Ejaculatory ducts, urethra, seminal vesicles, prostate gland, and bulbourethral gland. The last three are all glands that are going to help to nourish or add something to the sperm. So each epididymis is a tightly coiled tube that sits on top, basically, of the testes. It kind of drops down also along the side. And it's going to lead from the testes to that vas deferens tube. It starts at the top, it descends to the bottom, and then it goes up through the vas deferens. It is the site, probably the most important job of the epididymis, is that's where the sperm matures. So if a male has something wrong with the epididymis, he may not be able to reproduce because he can only produce immature sperm, which will not fertilize. So epididymis is very important for maturity of the sperm. Then they will become mobile and they're going to have the ability to fertilize an egg. I live on a farm, we have cattle, so when we semen test our bulls, you know, being the biology person, I like to look and see. And you can see these little sperm that are moving, and then you can see the sperm that aren't normal. And some of them might not have a tail, or they just kind of sit there and wiggle, they don't really move. You know, that happens in cattle, obviously that happens in humans also. Every single sperm, especially when a man produces 60 million, every single one of them is not going to be viable. So the vas deferens is a muscular tube about 45 centimeters, so that's fairly long, leading from the epididymis into the body cavity, into the ejaculatory duct. So that's where it's going to unite and empty its contents into the urethra. So kind of starting out, we have our sperm is kept completely separate from our urinary tract, our male's urinary tract. It's going to unite with the urethra in order for it to be released. Seminal vesicle is one of those glands. It's a sac-like structure. It attaches to the vas deferens, kind of sits by the urinary bladder. So during emission, so these glands are going to work basically when sperm is going to be ejected. So during emission, seminal vesicles secrete a fluid which contains fructose, which is a sugar, so it's going to nourish the sperm. And then prostaglandins, and basically those prostaglandins cause muscular contractions in the female tract. So those contractions are going to kind of help to pull sperm into the vagina and upwards so that it can actually go all the way to the egg cell. Because the egg cell is going to be quite a ways inside of the female. Prostate gland, then, like I said, you've probably heard about this a lot. It's larger, kind of chestnut shaped. It's surrounding the urethra, and here again towards the bottom of the bladder. The prostate gland secretes a very thin, milky, acidic fluid. Notice the other one was alkaline. So the last one was a little bit basic. This one's a little bit acidic. It contains citrate, another nutrient that is needed by the sperm. And then prostate-specific antigen, PSA. So males who have problems with their prostate will have the PSA count. You may have heard of that before. That enzyme is going to help to liquefy the semen. Obviously, when sperm are moving, they have a tail, they have to move through fluid. So this is going to help to create the fluid so that the sperm can actually swim. Bulbourethral, like I said, sometimes you'll see Cowper's gland is another thing that these are called. They are smaller again. They sit below the prostrate, and then they basically secrete the mucus that's going to help to lubricate. Basically, the lubrication is more for the penis than it actually is for the sperm or semen. So that's the function of the Cowper's gland. Semen itself will have the sperm cells, and there's 120 million per milliliter of semen, and then all the secretions of the glands that we just mentioned. Sperm cells cannot fertilize an egg until they've gone through capacitation within the female reproductive tract. Biology, I show a video where you can actually see the inside, and what happens inside the female actually tries to fight off sperm because it's not natural inside of her body. So the sperm have to be strong, and they have to basically swim a long ways. Male external reproductive structures are the scrotum, which houses the testes, and then the penis. So the scrotum is a pouch of skin, subcutaneous tissue. It's going to hold the testes. Basically, its job is to regulate the temperature. And when I teach this in biology, I kind of tease with my classes. When they talk about shrinkage of that area, what happens is the scrotum is going to pull the testes close to the body when they're cold. Because if they're closer to the body, it's going to warm them up. The reason the testes are in the scrotum is because body temperature of men are too hot. The sperm has to be cooler than 98.6, so it's held away from the body. So if a man gets cold, the scrotum is basically going to tighten up and pull those testes closer to the body to add warmth. If a male is hot, like after exercise or being outside when it's hot, they're actually going to loosen up so that they fall further away from the body to basically keep them cooler. Which, if you've heard which is kind of true, where they talk about men wearing boxers, you know, some men that have problems maybe reproducing or something like that. If you have a problem with too much heat, you know, around your sperm, they might actually suggest that. That's not entirely a myth. This penis itself, a cylindrical organ made up of actual erectile tissue, very spongy. I talked about that before. So corpus cavernosa, corpus spongiosum, and basically there's one opening for the male, so both urine and semen go to the outside. They both can't be released at one time, it's one or the other. The corpus spongiosum encircles, so it surrounds the urethra. It enlarges at the distal end to form that glans penis, which is basically the bottom or the head of the penis, which is covered by that fold of skin. So this corpus spongiosum will be part of what fills with blood. So here, during sexual arousal, parasympathetic impulses trigger the release of nitric oxide, and that's going to, what that does is it increases blood flow specifically to the penile area, and that causes an erection. So basically what causes that is blood fills all those spongy areas, and that's what causes the erection. Culmination of sexual stimulation, male and female, orgasm. In a male, that's going to consist of releasing the sperm cells, the semen, and everything that goes with it. So emission is the movement through the inside part, and then ejaculation is specifically when it actually leaves the male's body. After ejaculation, sympathetic impulses again will constrict those arteries. The blood will not flow so quickly to that area, and then the penis returns to its natural flaccid or loose state. And here's the table that shows all of the different functions, so a good review. And that's where we'll stop.